They want this. I want you to turn the beat around. Run away, run away. Hi, I'm Dr. Francis. I'm a world-renowned wildlife nutritionist. You may not have heard of me, but your little snake has... That sounds so wrong. Well, he's heard of it, so your snake knows me. What can I say? And today we'll be talking about how to make your dog live longer. Apple? Get it? How to make your dog live longer. They are your biological children. They came out from you. They live with you. You love them. They're part of your family. You never want them to leave. You look at them and you start crying just thinking, oh my God, what am I gonna do when you're gone? Because they don't live as long as us. And we are 100% part of their life and they're only in our life for a little bit. We wanna make that as long as possible. How? What does science tell us about making our dogs live as long as possible? Well, I have 6 steps for you to take for your dog's nutrition to make them live as long as possible. Forever! No, I wish. Step 1, reduce the carbohydrates in your dog's diet as much as possible. You're gonna wanna get a diet overall that has less than 15% on a dry matter basis of carbs. This is because long-term exposure to carbohydrates wreaks havoc on your dog's metabolism and digestion and gut health. That's why you're gonna wanna have some, whatever you're feeding, whether it's kibble or canned food, whatever, I leave that up to you, but make sure it's as low carb as possible. Even if that means adding in some more meat or animal sources and it dilutes the carbohydrates, or you're just buying something that already is low carb. And don't listen to the packaging if it says low carb. I want you to turn it around. I want you to turn the beat around. Turn it around and look at the carb content. And guess what? You're not gonna find it. Because they hide it because they know. Because they know what they're doing is wrong because carbs are cheap and they want this. They want the money. They want the money, so they put a lot of cheap carbohydrates in the diet and they sell it to you as a premium. And then they'll maybe reduce it by 5 or 10% and be like, it's low carb. Crap, that's crap. They know what they're doing and I'm looking at you now, you know who you are. I know what you're doing and you know what you're doing and stop it. But they're not gonna stop. I keep going on these rants. Anytime I talk about carbohydrates, I just go immediately to violence. It's like, I'm gonna educate and I'm gonna be like part of the community and then I talk about carbs and then I choose violence immediately. But it's so important and it makes such a difference in your dog's long-term health. Such a difference. Go as low carb as possible. Grain-free, grain, whatever. Most of the time it actually doesn't matter so much because even if they replace grains with lentils or peas or whatever, there's still a lot of starch in there. There's still a lot of carbs. So look at the carb content. And if you look at the packaging and there's no carb content there, then you gotta take out your little phone, you gotta open your little calculator, and you have to do 100 minus the protein, minus the fat, minus the fiber, minus the ash, minus the moisture. And the number that's left is gonna be the amount of carbs. If it's less than 15, you're okay. If it's more than 15, try and find something else. Or do something at home to dilute the carb content. Low carb content. Number 2, you're gonna wanna add in some specific disease-fighting foods. Science has identified actually quite a lot of herbs and foods and spices that have been proven to help fight cancer and to help prevent a host of other diseases as well. That means you're gonna wanna include stuff like mushrooms in your dog's diet. Yes, mushrooms are safe. Just make sure that they're cooked. You don't want to give them raw. Any kind of mushroom, shiitake mushroom, lion's mane mushroom, turkey tail, reishi, cordyceps, rotate them, all good. Oyster mushrooms, little button mushrooms. Mushrooms every day for all of time. Mushrooms are great. Even adding some of the different herbs, like this is basil. You could give stuff like parsley. You could give any other herb. You just want to make sure that you're giving just a shake, and then you can rotate through them to get health boosting compounds as well. And another thing that's great are microgreens or sprouts, especially broccoli sprouts, but you can even use alfalfa sprouts, soy sprouts, anything, any seed that is just sprouting, grind it up, put it in the food, Luckily, you don't need a lot. Just adding something as much as your finger usually is more than enough. These have been proven to help fight and prevent cancers of many different types. Add specific disease-fighting ingredients into the food. Number 3, feed as much whole ingredient food as possible. Try and give diets that are not as ultra-processed. The most you can afford, really. Let's say you have like this budget for your pet's nutrition, but now you're only using half of it on actual food, the other half is on supplements. Well, I would suggest you put the budget back together and then spend it on a fresh food diet as much as you can. Supplements can be useful, but that money should better spent on a complete and balanced fresh diet. I don't mean just raw. You don't need to feed raw if you don't want. Some people are still very afraid of it, and I'm not gonna pressure you in any way. But a gently cooked diet is an excellent alternative. Really, as long as you're doing something that is the least processed as possible, you're doing your dog a huge favor. Not necessarily by adding in good stuff, but by making sure bad stuff doesn't go in. You know what I mean? Ultra processed is, well, the word says it all. It's ultra processed. So even if you start off with good ingredients, but you process them till an inch of their life, you're reducing digestibility. There's so many different areas where they could potentially be exposed or contaminated with who knows what. And because of all these kibble and ultra processed foods have a lot of carbs in them, there's also a lot of risk for higher amounts of pesticides, heavy metals, even toxins, even like things you couldn't even imagine. The recalls for pet food are crazy. Some of them actually have legit poisons in them. Of course, this is the minority. Most are safe, at least short term. But long term, you just want to avoid any of these nasty things going into your pet every day because it's taking your dog's organs, especially the liver. They need to detox this crap every day, all the time. So that takes a portion of your liver's energy that could be devoted to doing a lot of other more beneficial stuff. And all of the antioxidants that your dog's liver produces could be better spent protecting from a whole other stuff that you can't really control, like pollution, and from the outside environment. The food that you're giving your pet needs to be as clean as possible, and that means as less processed as possible. Now, everyone has a different budget. We're all doing the best that we can. If all you can afford is a kind of kibble, fine, it is what it is. But then maybe you want to supplement that with some home cooked food, stuff that you can do at home, maybe your own leftovers, adding in some meat, trying to do what you can. And just by reducing carbs, which is number 1, you will also be helping to reduce a lot of these potential nasties in your pet's food. Number 4, focus on your pet's gut health. Now, if you follow steps 1, 2, and 3, you're already doing a lot of benefits here for your dog's gut health. There's research going on for gut health and microbiome overall every day, and papers are coming out literally every week, and it's amazing how much we did not know anything about gut health, honestly, 15 years ago. And now we don't know what we don't know. The science is amazing. It's so clear how by focusing on gut health, you can change your dog's behavior, you can change how they look, how they act, you can change their efficiency with digesting food and nutrients, you can even affect how likely they are to get or not get certain diseases too, and you can really see the difference pretty much within a week after you start a kind of gut-friendly diet. So what can you do? Well, include fermented foods, especially like kefir or yogurt. I much prefer kefir over yogurt though. Cow's milk is fine, goat's milk is awesome. Focus on that, give a little bit every day, that makes a big difference. Give some soluble fibers, so add like a little spoonful of pumpkin, cooked pumpkin, butternut squash, Jerusalem artichoke, even a little bit of sweet potato sometimes. Even apples have a lot of pectin in there. It's great for their gut long term. Even mushrooms. Mushroom stems are very high in beta-glucans, a very rare kind of fiber that has been shown to just propel their gut health to new levels. And what's great is rotate through them. So don't give everything at once, that's a bit much, but you can give maybe 1 or 2 different gut boosters and then rotate through them. Even some supplements like psyllium husk, flaxseed or ground seed, that is great for gut health long term. Now, your number 1 idea is probably probiotics, right? I'm not a big fan of probiotics unless your pet has a specific issue. I think giving natural fermented foods is already a great source of probiotics. There are some that are species specific. I'm gonna say the brand here because I love them and they're from Canada, Adored Beast. So they have these dog-specific, wolf-specific, and they have cat-specific probiotics. So those are great, but again, you wanna rotate your probiotics. If you give probiotics, you wanna make sure there are as many strains in there as possible, and you wanna rotate through them. Don't use the same one for too long, except for stuff like natural foods that is fermented like kefir, that you can give long term because it's already like at 60 strains. But you may unbalance the gut microbiome, the microbe community, if you give 1 or 2 strains and you give a lot of it. So you want to keep rotating. After every bottle, try something new. You don't want to stick to the same thing. And that's pretty much it for gut health. But again, if you follow number 1, lower carb content, you'll already be doing a lot of benefits for the gut health overall. Number 5, antioxidants. You want to make sure you're giving some form of antioxidants long term for your pet's health. So what does this mean? Well, it means you can give some fruits, you can give some berries. I mean, everyone's talking about blueberries for dogs now, with good reason. It's fantastic. You can also give any kind of berry, rotate through them. If you're giving an omega-3 supplement, then you can include salmon, which will have some carotenoids in there, which are antioxidants. Krill oil, fantastic as well. Basically making sure there's some like leafy vegetables in there as well, because they're super high in antioxidants. You can't just give a meat diet. You want to make sure that there's some form of plants in there because you want to get that fiber, like I said before. You want to give those antioxidants. Those are what are going to do a lot of protection against diseases that just meat and organs just won't do. If you want to give like a carnivore diet because you're a man and these are carnivores and they eat dead animals, that's fine. Add in a few berries, add in a few leaves, 5% of the diet, you're fine. They could take a lot more than that if you'd like, but it's based on your comfort level and what you think your dog does best on, and that's fine. Every dog is different. Their ideal diet will look somewhat different on every dog as well, and that's okay. But there needs to be some source of antioxidants. And the last one, number 6. What do you think it's gonna be? What do you think it's gonna be? Put your comments below. And then you'll find out in the next video. That's not true, I'll just tell you right now. Make sure that the diet that you're feeding is complete and balanced. This is extremely important for homemade foods, homemade diets, raw diets, gently cooked, prepared diets. Any diet is at risk of not being balanced, but fresh, and especially homemade ones, they have slightly higher risk. So you need to make sure that you know what you're doing. So this means you need to ask the company you're buying from, or even the nutritionist whose recipes you're using, ask them for the nutrient details, ask them for the nutrient analysis, compare it to international standards like NRC, AFCO, or FEDIAF. You kind of need to do your own homework here because everyone's gonna tell you it's complete and balanced. No one's gonna say, no, it's not. So even if the label says complete and balanced, I still want you to check. I still want you to ask for those nutrient analysis. And if they don't give you a nutrient analysis, then guess what? Run away, run away. Run away if you want to survive. If you're a millennial, you should know this song. If you're an older millennial like me, then you should know the song. Younger millennials still may not know. Anyway, it's a good song, 90s dance. The science here is very clear. Dogs that are fed a non-balanced diet throughout their life are much more likely to have a host of other health issues, including cancer. The number one factor in dogs developing cancer is a non-balanced diet, which just so happens in this study to have been a lot of home-cooked foods. Not all of it, but most of it. So make sure you're giving something that is really, really complete and balanced, and by lowering carbs, giving a good meat content, giving healthy fats, omega-3s naturally found in these meats, grass-fed beef, fish, salmon, canned mackerel, canned sardines. Those are all great. Make sure they're included as part of the everyday diet. And don't do this kind of rotating ingredients and it balances over time, because guess what? You don't know that. It may balance, it may not, you don't know. And some nutrients need to be given every day. There currently is no science saying that a balanced diet every day is bad. In fact, we have the opposite. We know that a diet that is not balanced every day has a higher likelihood of causing health issues, and it maybe even promotes certain cancers over time. Make sure your food is balanced every day. You don't want to risk that. And of course, this comes with a whole host of other benefits, like if it's a lower carb and it's fully balanced, your dog is probably more likely to not be fat, because you also don't want your dog to be fat. I guess this is kind of like 6.5 or like like a bonus. Maybe it's like 7, number 7. Make sure your dog is not fat. It sounds quite crass when I say make sure your dog is not fat, but overweight dogs are, again, much more likely to get cancer and diabetes, joint issues, so many other health issues. So that was like a bonus one. So to summarize, we want to make sure that you're giving a diet that is as natural as possible, as least processed as possible, low carb, has disease-fighting ingredients, has antioxidants, focuses on the gut, and make sure that your dog is in slim and trim condition, just like me. I'm on Ozempic. No, I'm not. I wish I was. Well, I hope that helped, and I hope that your puppy lives forever. Goddamn forever. I hope your puppy is with you forever, and that you look into their little face and their big eyes, and they lick your face, and then I want you to cry. Because we love them so much and we never want them to go. And I hope that for you, and it's never too late, but it's also never too early to start focusing on diet to get your pet to live as long as possible. Science even tells us that dogs on a fresh food diet can live 3 months to 3 years longer. 3 years! Why are you still feeding kibble? Stop it. Look in their face. And why am I still doing this, feeding kibble? Again, if it's a budget, if you have no choice, fine. Now I give you some tips to elevate, to increase the quality of this kibble, to really give as much chance as possible so that your pet can live as long as possible and not have diseases or health issues that are preventable. 8 out of 10 reasons why you go to the vet are prevented solely by nutrition. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. I hope your dog lives forever. I hope they live forever. I hope they live forever. I'm gonna be vulnerable. This is the tattoo of my dog that passed away at 16. And I think every day, what could I have done more? And it's something you think of after your pet passes. And I'm not over it. It's been 2 years and I'm not over it. And I don't think I'll be over it anytime soon. Please do what you can. You'll be happy you did. I'm gonna end on this sad note. Okay, well, thank you for watching. Comment below, what additions have you been doing to your pets in order to help them live as long as possible and prevent disease? Comment below, I can't wait to read your comments. Follow us on social media for some funny content. I'm not always this emo, I promise. TikTok, Instagram, everywhere else, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.